Hi and welcome to the Aaron Russos podcast. Today's podcast, I just wanted to touch on, I guess the looking for love. Obviously, as a numerologist, we also become part counsellor, and through that process, we have people sitting in front of us. As I said, over 5,500, and a big majority of them, when I say to them, is there anything that you would like to know how to do, or, what are you looking for at the moment? And a big majority are looking for love, are trying to manifest love, and I guess love in itself as an expression has many levels, I guess you could say. And the top would be unconditional love, which couldn't even be marriage really, because marriage has conditions. So it's not, unconditional love in that thing. You wouldn't go and be with someone else or not look after them when they're sick. But when you unconditionally love someone, in the highest expression, not the words, not the phrases and the terms that you've been throwing around your life. I'm talking about real unconditional love, which probably no one on the planet has experienced or know. But there might be some. And so I guess we need to work out. I mean, we all know there's something chemical going on, there's something we can't explain going on when we're talking about love and how other people make us feel, and not many people understand the soul side of things as well, and obviously you might run into a soul. There's different soul groups, soul family, soul mate, twin soul. There's all sorts of things. Twin souls, obviously, can only be one, and so each one of them, from a soul level, is a recognition, or you recognize the soul. You don't recognize the person, but you recognize the soul. Very hard to explain, but that familiarization, you're so familiar with that soul that it becomes magnetic. And look, obviously there's, we can all say that, and this word has been thrown around a lot, karmic soulmate, someone that's come into your life to teach you lessons. Well, look, as per most of the things that are across my website, I'm got the core truth. You know what I mean? I'm the gold standard when it comes to all things about humans, the system we belong to, Gaia, everything. And so, it's easy to say, yeah, we've got karmic, but really, until you are a healed, unconditioned person, so meaning no fears, insecurities, traumas, wounds, when you heal all that side of it, then you have to shed all of the conditioning that has been impressed upon you, entered through your senses, 5 senses, and made its way into a subset of beliefs that may not be true, that could be fragmenting your reality. As that gets in there, well, then if any of that is present, then all of your relationships are going to be karmic ones where you learn something, okay? There's a whole lot in my book and across everything about karma, how it works, the inner workings of it, and obviously the future for karma, which might be a little bit too high level spirituality for the average person on the street. I mean, most of my stuff is top-tier consciousness. We're talking about there's levels of consciousness on the planet. It's like high school, there's year 7s and year 12s. So the karmic soul, the lesson part, it comes because, any relationship is a mirror, and it mirrors back to us all the unhealed parts of ourselves. And that also then sort of voids our free will, because our responses, reactions aren't our own. And it takes a bit of a process to go through this. I've mentioned many a time before, I've done this now. So when I meet someone now, I'm completely healed of that. I've transmuted every bit of dark, negative energy, traits, traumas, things I've been scared of, insecurities, things I'm feared of. And look, while I'm at probably the highest level going around on that way, I've also shed all the conditioning. I can work out what's true and what's not. So basically when I'm meeting someone now, I've got nothing reflecting back on me but love. So if someone was to come to me and meet me and they had they had some traumas or things, and then and I'm completely just got nothing, and I'm overflowing with love, almost like a circular breathing with a didgeridoo, just this love vibration throughout me. Very rare that anyone with traumas, fears, and that conditioning could even get to me. They'll start the process, and through the conversation, they'll be like, I'll be reflecting back to them a completed version of themselves, and slowly but surely it detaches somewhere. We're not talking about sexual gratification. We're not talking about codependency. We are talking about pure companionship, right? So you'll find that while people think that they're attracted to me, it quickly goes south. Because they haven't, it doesn't match. Someone who has gone through the same process of me, or very close to it, that's not wearing a mask, doesn't have to be someone else, doesn't have to play games to get to know someone. It's really about, beautiful space. Then it's not an intense, like some of the full-on relationships we've all had, or attractions. You just really love being in their space, their beautiful space. It's not, and while it's magnetic and while it's really beautiful, it's in no way a crazy chemical. There's no dysfunction involved. Okay, the reason why 99% of the planet is in dysfunctional relationships is because of this, and because of families. What most family lines, biological lines, corporeal here on Earth. We look to our parents and our families and stuff as examples of relationships, and they're not great. It's one area that we've really never, given enough time or energy to, over the 2,000 years of recorded history, and to the world. That's okay, because the world is ruled by money and big business. And if we were all in these beautiful, loving relationships, what happens when you get to higher levels of love is you have to, as you get higher and higher, about 3 steps before unconditional love, you really realize that it's all an internal manifestation. So to find the true love, you have to love yourself first. And when you love yourself, it's like a necessary stage in getting to this beautiful love. And so to love yourself means not to do that to yourself, not to put yourself through that pain, not to worthiness, not to put up with that shit, not to put up with not being listened, not to being spoken to, not being, and as you do that, it starts to impact on every part of your life, and this includes your health. And so someone that truly loves themselves will not eat junk food, will not put high sugars and processed foods in their system, will not smoke cigarettes, will not be addicted to drugs. Many do and many are, but it's a stage. Sorry, no, they're not. Anyone that's, that is, what I mean is, you can be going through the stages saying you self-love, but then you don't have the free will to make the necessary changes to get to the next level, because ultimately all your decisions are ruled by an addiction, and addictions are food, processed foods, high sugars, high sugar diets. And so we really have this real dysfunction. Now, as I said, the world's ruled by money. So when you're in these dysfunctional states, you're more reliant on the system. You feed the system, okay? When you've got self-love, you're worthy, you've got healthy boundaries and you love yourself. If you loved yourself, there's no way that you would smoke cigarettes, for instance. Okay, and I'm using that as an example because when I was unhealed, and I went out with a girl who was a kinesiologist, and she actually was, I guess, a karmic lesson because I was unhealed. She came to me, and one day we had a disagreement or a fight or whatever, and she came around to the house, and I was out on the back step having a cigarette. And she was the one that brought it to my attention. She's like, "What are you doing? This is about you. This is you not loving yourself. Who in their right mind would do that?" And I can see that now, and I've since, I think I'm maybe a year and a bit, a year and a half off the cigarettes, and I did the transmuting the dark energy into light. I've been out on the beach forgiving people that I'm never going to get an apology for and all that sort of stuff. So it's really been, a learning process to find myself where we are today. And when you get to here, where I am, I mean, we're talking about no fears, nothing goes bump in the night. I know exactly how everything works. Insecurities. I had traumas that was so deep-seated. I needed to go to a kinesiologist to identify what they are, where they came in, and then asked my superconscious, my innate, to clear them. And so the question that I get asked the most, over 50% of all the people that sit down in front of me, whether they're, into manifesting, they're on their journey or whatever, and I say, is there something? They go, well, yeah, I'd love to find love. We're all looking for that elusive, and I did too. And I guess in lower states or in more fear-based, when we're not complete, we're looking for someone to complete us, and that's not the way it works. We're meant to complete ourselves each and then meet on a point where it's just pure companionship. There's nothing to complete. You just enjoy being in that space. And in that space, it changes chemicals. Love is guaranteed whether you're healed, unhealed, whatever state you're in. Love does chemically change the chemical composition in your body. And that is also healing in itself. So love is so good for us. And as I say, the creator of this universe, right, probably had a choice when he was creating the place. But he's created this place and with the duality that we have here on earth, the highest expression of that duality is love. I mean, who creates a universe and makes the bias, the be-all of end-all, love? Yeah? And then we wonder, why are we all looking for love? So that's, and bigger picture stuff, you zoom out and you're looking at this and you can go, oh yeah, it's just slow, uncomfortable change, and we're heading towards it and we're getting better. So today I thought I'd get on and just explain to people, look, how can we, where we are, where we sit today, attract the right love into our lives? And there's a few things that we can do, and there's a few things that I'm going to share with you. It's not going to be a long podcast, but I guess some of the things that I wanted to share with you are very important because I've learnt them on my journey. Okay, so one of the ways that you can invoke or get someone, just perfect, just right for you, is using synchronicity. Okay, we all know that we've got a soul. You don't know that part of your soul is actually over the other side of the veil, they call it. So there's two places you can be, here and there. Here is here when you're alive on earth, when you transition back to the soul soup. The soul soup is over there. And pieces and parts of you are everywhere, but a piece of you is over there. And so therefore, simply by saying out aloud, because a word is a frequency in the air, it impresses, and every cell in your body all the way through to your DNA hears it. And then your body with your soul, the innate, everything will conspire to deliver that for you. So, so one easy way is to say, I would love to meet someone. Now, back in the day, when I first started experimenting with this, I was asking for someone that bloody worshipped the ground I walked on, loved me unconditionally, saw me like no one else, didn't look at anyone else, da-da-da. And you know what? Excuse me. The universe conspired and gave me that in record time. Okay? I think it was 2 days later, maybe even the next day, I walked into a restaurant and someone when you got synchronicity, you feel with your intuition what is for you. You can be in a room of 20 people. In this case, I was in a room of 40 people, and only one person stood out, smiled at me, had some familiarization, something was going on. And that person was what I'd asked for. When we got into the relationship, I was like, wow, this person can't see anyone else. Just absolutely do anything for me. Said, I don't care if I'm with you for a week or a million years. I'll be happy with what I got. And I was like, well, that's not really love. That's like a little bit too much full on. Then when I went back and looked at, oh, wow, this is exactly what I asked for. So it's important when you're using the language to get synchronicity, to get everyone conspiring to help you with this love, is to say, look, universe, God, whatever, innate, you can communicate to all of this. I would really love someone, a companion who we can share some beautiful experiences, someone that will actually suit me, my life, my lifestyle, just perfect for me. And when you say that, obviously, your innate, the universe, creator, everyone knows exactly what you want before you've asked for it, right? It's intelligent. We're talking about an intelligent universe. So basically then what will happen is you won't get you'll get what you asked for, but you'll get someone that's at a stage and at an attraction that is perfect for you. Big difference. The thing is, that might take a little bit more time than the other one. Okay, the first one took me, 24 hours. The next one might mean you might have to do some work. The other person might have to do some work. But either way, I'm not talking about, depends. If you want the top tier, you want to, I don't even want to talk about twin souls, but that's the epitome. That's the top tier. That's the same energetic frequency blueprint, exactly the same as you, like the yin yang symbol. It's like one created as two. And look, it's really deep to get into it, the push-pull energy, the duality, and how it all works and everything, but that is very, very rare. And that relationship will absolutely turn your whole life upside down, and it will strip away everything to a point where most people will find it too much and overwhelming. People that don't understand it, that start to go through this, many have checked themselves into mental institutions. So it's an extreme version. And if you want to do the work, you can. And then even then, it's not guaranteed. But then you come out of the other end and you're completely and utterly just a vessel for companionship. But you're only, in this world, 99.9% of everyone is dysfunctional, unhealed. They have fears, insecure, because you're fed fears through the television every single day. Your whole world is a fear factory, basically, because it's all trying to keep you in a perpetuated state of fear because you're a better customer. And so it's very hard to see one picture and know another thing. Okay, it takes courage. You can't go around evangelizing and telling other people because they don't give a fuck. Everyone wants to be shit because that's their conditioning, right? You can't help that. But on an entry level right now, universe, I would love someone right now, just perfect for me, suited on this journey, awesome companionship, a beautiful attraction, that we can really have some beautiful times together and experience life here on Earth. And, you can write it down on a piece of paper, read it out, burn the piece of paper. There's different rituals and things. There's nothing right and wrong. Anything that's sacred in your life is sacred because you make it sacred. If you want to have low-level, sexual gratification relationships and stuff, that's it. In the next day, you can have a sacred sexual relationship that means something more special to you. You make things sacred. You make things not sacred also. So write on a paper, you can ask at certain times. You can meditate on it, okay? Meditation is important because it slows down the very things in your DNA that have been in perpetual motion that speed up to try and get a spiritual growth. And so it slows it down. The aging process stops at that point as well. It quietens the mind and it allows for connection to everything, to Mother Nature, to the world, to the stars, and so in that state, very quiet, not only can you impress those thoughts, you can also find some intuitive downloads. You can't get intuitive downloads if you're in a busy, noisy world where you haven't taken the time to stop or slow down to get that. The other things that I experienced, I bought a beautiful rose quartz, huge crystal. They say it was the crystal for love, and this is before I even became healed. Then I came across a lady, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who was charging crystals, demagnetizing them by the central sun, the power of the central sun, explaining the molecular chalice and how crystals hold light and why they're used for electronics. And it's scientific, but it's quantum scientific as well. So it's, a little bit has to be taken on faith at this stage because science can see it, measure it, knows about it, doesn't know how it works. And that's a lot of my stuff. So what what I did with this crystal was I demagnetized it. I then made it a vessel for light for me. I charged it and I put it next to my bed, and that was 4 years ago. And I've got the crystal sitting next to me on the chair right now. It's been with me for 4 years, and I credit the great change in the love space in my life to meeting this crystal. I know it sounds funny. And, even crystals themselves. I mean, they say that our chakras are our original crystals, but when we're not here, there's no time, obviously, in the universe. It was a human construct to make time. And so what happens is crystals were provided to us because our own crystals weren't attuned to the level that was required by the age. We're in different ages. This was the age of Aquarius. It was the age of Pisces. And so what happened was different tools and different things have been presented to us to use here to deal with the weight of karma, for instance, because karma also is a spiritual thing, and you might not know why you've got some lessons or challenges or things impressing on your life that might be from previous incarnations, because we only really know what's going on in this one because we're born these beautiful, magnificent spiritual creatures that have this holistic abilities to get guidance, protection, support, all of the magic. And then from day one, we stick a needle with a concoction of chemicals into a baby, and that is the start of our human conditioning to make us forget who we actually are. That's how it starts. That's a fact. Now, many thousands of things happen from education. Everything they're geared to keep us from actually knowing who we are, because when they know who we are, we can't be controlled, and we can't therefore contribute to their system, which is all run by money. And we have very limited lives, and they don't really care that, and we don't know any better, right? You're completely conditioned. You don't know what I know. I go about my life. I can have whatever love I want. Any female with someone, married, anything, whatever, by the pure love and thing through that transmutation that I've done, I can have anything, anyone that I therefore want. I don't have any health. I'm in control, complete control of my health. So therefore the bad things, I can't get cancer. I can't. And if I did, I know exactly what caused it and how to reverse it. And that goes for everything. There's mutated gene disease and stuff, which I don't know. That's a different thing, but all these man-made ones, no problem. I've got guidance and support and protection. So where I go, where I move, what I do, I'm stopped, moved out the way, and ultimately protected. I've also developed instead of going to a kinesiologist to muscle test, to ask my superconscious, my innate, what's going on, my innate is wired into the field, and if some imminent danger was coming up, I would get the very distinct warning sign. So all of those things I have from just remembering who I am, which is who you are, which is who we all are. But we've all become so conditioned that I can't even talk to most of you. I'm getting to a point where most of my conversations are, I'm sorry that I even started a conversation with you, because you have no idea what you're talking about. And in your really stupid conditioned state, you don't know what you don't know, but yet you don't want to know either, because the system is designed like that for you to be like that. So it's very hard. So anyway, we're talking about love. So we're invoking the love. Now with synchronicity, when you put it out there, right, we live in a world that's called it's co-creation. And I can tell you from extreme experience of trial and error of doing this, co-creation is the only way. There is never a point where you ask the universe for something and you sit and wait. That's impossible. Even sitting and waiting and visualizing and doing all that sort of stuff, okay? Affirmations, like the spoken word, impress on your cells, and if you make them up yourself, more authenticity, that's spirituality's calling card, yeah? Authenticity, emotion, love, right? If you make up an affirmation about love, yourself, that you've made up, and you get up every day and you impress that on yourselves, everything is going to conform to get that, and then everything will be moved. If you move enough around, you get out a bit and tingo, and as I said, you might go to a party and there'll be 100 people there, but you'll know the one that's there for you because they will be familiar. Can you see what I'm saying? That thing is a soul thing. That is synchronicity. Everything's being moved around behind the scenes for you to one day walk along and boom, wow, what I've asked for has just been put straight in front of me. And I guess the important thing to know, whether, at the moment, lots of people pray and it goes nowhere because they don't know what they're doing. I say to people, if you've ever prayed for something and not got exactly what you've asked for, you're doing it wrong, right? So with the synchronicity, bang, it'll get put in front of you. And the important thing to know, just from a confidence level, is that the people that are moving things around, the synchronicity, the universe, they're in a place where everything and everyone is in cooperation. It's a singularity. Here on Earth, we have duality. Your mind has to logically work something out with with intuition and ego, and there's a bit of survival. There's all these things in play to do certain things. But over there, they only know love and they only know cooperation. So they will only say yes, 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 yes. So if you know how to impress on them, how to actively impress on that, then you will only get help. It will always be a yes. It will never be a no, no matter what you ask for. It's quite powerful, and you have to really be careful when you get good at it and you know what you're doing, because as I say, I've asked for some stuff and then gone, oh, maybe that's not what I wanted. And it can be heartbreaking, right? And then that heartbreak can be someone else's, I might have asked for someone, got someone that was not 100% healed or had issues themselves. Then I've gone on, you know what, I don't want this because I'm on this other journey, and the universe goes, but I gave you exactly what you asked for. And so it's really, but that's it, when you get down further down the track. So we're in this beautiful space where now things can happen. You can test all these things. Nothing that I'm telling you can't be tested, no matter. I'm talking about practical spirituality. That's what I do. And so you can be tested, and like learning a skill, getting memory muscle and all the rest of it, you can test these things out. Back in the old days, when I was down here on the Gold Coast, I used to do numerology readings on the beach. And at schoolies time, I would have a lot of young women sit down in front of me. And I love that because I got numerology and an understanding of it back in my teenage years. That really profoundly changed my life really positively, And women are 90% of people that will sit down. Women, that beautiful nurturing, mothering, love. Women were in charge of wisdom back in the day, and all the ancients, the women energy, the womb, that is a beautiful love energy, right? It's way more effective than masculine energy. Masculine has its part and in the game, but it's definitely, and so therefore I get 90% women sitting in front of me. And in the old days, to manifest, I'd say, look, you need to align with your true self. You have to really, to become, and there was just really enacting the old school law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. If I invest in myself and I be this amazing person myself, then that's what you're going to attract. Yes, there were some affirmations still involved back then. It was more about knowing yourself and aligning yourself and worthiness and boundaries and going, hey, no, I'm not going to accept a guy that talks to me and while he's talking to me out the corner of his eye, he's looking at the girl walking past. No. I want this. I deserve this. And by doing that, you're getting some really high level, attracting some really high level mates and relationships and all sorts of things. So the old school way is still quite relevant in different circles, or, I guess it's, like I said, there's all different levels here on earth. It's like we've all, on our own journey, we're all unique and we're all thinking, but we're all collectively going to the same place, and that's called harmony. This planet's never had harmony. That's the end game for us, is harmony, but we've never had it. And so that really tells us that we're at a very infancy stage. We're at a very early stage of development on this planet. The best is yet to come, is what I'm trying to say. And that goes for relationships as well. When you get into relationships, I guess what I can see now from being in some real top tier soul connection relationships is that the people, like, you just love being in their presence. You don't have to even say anything. You just love being in that company, love being in that energy. But the people listen. These people listen to you like no one else has listened to you. They look at you as if they're looking straight into your soul. It's not a token. You think about the world, how it's all online and distractions and all this, crazy stuff. And porn is available to 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds to download on their phone. That is the general, sex education these days comes from women being degraded online in sexual videos, and any child can get access to that for free right now today. What, is that an injustice? Yes. Why is it possible? Because the powers that be understand that the more dysfunctional you are, the better customer you are. Okay? I see, while I've been talking and doing this, I'm down at the Esplanade on Burleigh, maybe, 1,000 people have walked past. It's quite a busy morning. Not one person gives a shit that their children, their children's children can go online and look at porn right now. I don't know. Why don't we think that's disgusting? Because you've been conditioned, okay? You're actually, it's not until you unconditioned and you heal yourself that you can see that you're all wearing a mask and you've all been programmed, and your responses. I've proven this many times because that's my life. Yeah, I do experiments on you. I can go to 100 of you walking past and tell you something, a statement, right? And I can write down the answer, roughly what it's going to be, put it in my pocket and pull it out every time. And over 75% of you give me the same response. That's how fucking you are not yourself. You are not the true self. And when you meet the true self, which none of you have, right? None of you have no conditioning, no addictions, no fears, no insecurities, no traumas, none of you. So you don't know who this true self is. And when you meet the true self, you want to talk about self-love? Well, then you really know about self-love, because you go, oh my God, that's who I am when you drop everything. If there was no world here and we were just like indigenous people, this is who I am. And guess what? Everyone loves that true self because it's you. Because, it's always the most amazing person. But this amazing person from day dot has been conditioned away from who they are. When I first met my true self, I was like, wow, I can't believe how cool I am. I can't believe how cool I am. So the fact that we can and we do have the ability to, it's like personal development for the soul. Being aware, consciousness is just awareness, it's just core truth. And obviously, if you're trying to enact or, trying to look for love, it's like everything else, like that I say. The reason why I do practical spirituality and applications and things, so you can test it, see it, and work with it, right? I met a girl the other day, and she clearly, not even 2 days ago, oh yeah, is there anything you like, what are you looking for, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm looking for love. And I said, well, that's funny, because I've just spoken to you for a good 20 minutes and nothing in your language, in your communication, in what you told me you're doing is looking for love. And how's that going for you? Oh, it's not going well because, and I'm saying this, it's not going well for her because everything in her life, in her picture, right? If you want a beautiful love, right? You don't have this shit life, I'm doing this, I don't really respect myself, I don't love myself, I don't do this. But one day when I get the love of my life walks in that I'm mystically trying to, that I'm saying I want, then I'll change. Then I'll love myself. Then I'll do that. No, you have to bring yourself up to a point where then someone can come along and love you. But this person in their language was doing nothing that was actually telling me that they were out looking for love. They were trying, they were pretending, they had masks on, they would play games. Most people as well play the same sort of games based on experience and the senses. So I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I met a girl and she was clearly very unhealed but she liked me and she wanted a relationship with me. And in the previous relationships that she'd had, there was a pattern. She'd met someone, they'd been a friend for quite some time, and then they crossed the line. Meaning then hooked up and became a relationship. So therefore, she was really interested in just getting this friendship with me, and she thought that was going to go through the same way. And she was asking me out to certain places and parts that she'd done in previous relationships. She thought that if we became really good friends and then we went out, got drunk, and then we fall into a relationship, it's a very low level consciousness or understanding person, but that was a reality. And it's like, no. You, even in your unhealed state, all she would have to have done was to take the mask off and go, look, I don't understand any of this, but I really like you. You know what I mean? Honesty, pure authenticity, no games, no laughter. But then you'd have to heal yourself to get to that state, I don't think. So that was where the mismatch. So we need to be able to our picture needs to match, or what we see needs to match what we feel and what we want. We can't, there was another girl that that was looking for love, but she was, and it happens quite often, like there's people, especially with Tinder and different dating apps and stuff, where sexual gratification, I mean, what sort of a fucking world, how crazy is this, right? How beautiful love is, that we can just go online, put a couple of pictures and swipe left, get a match, and then fucking go and hook up and meet and have sex with someone. Once again, that is soul eroding, destroying. It basically it contributes to the dysfunction of the relationships on the earth. And once again, the powers that be don't mind anything that fucks you guys up, because you're more controllable, more compliant customers and stuff. But that's the world we live in. So how are we meant to have these beautiful relationships if everyone's after this shallow level sexual gratification? And we're holistic beings as well. So when you meet someone physically, right, you've got to be physically attracted to them, mentally, right? Listening to them, talking about things, together, that beautiful back and forth, the understanding. And then the soul, from the recognition, from the energetic, kinesiologists can put, what I'm talking about when I talk about energetic, kinesiologists can get, say, someone that's addicted to gluten or flour and put it next to them, and their body will get a reaction from it. We know whether something is good for us. And sometimes, that full-on, overwhelming, energetic, thing for love, not sometimes, but all the time, that is not great. So it's pretty simple, really. Ask, do your little ceremony, whether it be a candle, online, a piece of paper, burn it. Affirmation's very important. It's in the book. It's all there. It's in my book, sorry, The Absolute Theory of Everything So Far. And there's, different podcasts on how to communicate with, your guides. You've got 3 guides that have been with you for every incarnation. They know you better than anyone else. Form a relationship with them. It's all there online. So what we want to do is get the support and the help that's sitting there waiting for us, right? They were there, when you came in. They were there before you came in, saying, oh, maybe you'll find us this time. You go, yeah, of course I will. And then you come down and you get the jab in your foot for hepatitis C, which is a sexually transmitted disease that they give you as a baby, a concoction of cocktail, not just the only one, on day one. So from day one, you are stripped of your divinity, and you go through this life, and then you get to a place where you don't know who you are anymore. And basically, then you're sitting in front of me going, oh, I really would love. I would really love to meet someone and have this beautiful thing. So the most beautiful love is unconditional love, and it's about companionship. It's not about mirroring each other's insecurities, wounds, to heal them. It's not dysfunctional. It's not controlling. There's a reason why there's a lot of narcissists on the planet at the moment. It's an awakening to pieces and parts of ourselves to have better expressions on the planet. I hope this has helped you with finding some love. It's look, if it's overcomplicated and really hard to do in life, whether it be your health, find love, anything, it's not the way. What I've found through extensive my whole life's work is that everything can be found in the simplicity of it all. You've got help, and if you think it's all woo-woo and it's a bit too much for you, then it's not for you. we've all got free will. We've got a choice. Well, I do. None of you have, because you're all got some form of addiction or some wounds or conditioning and all sorts of stuff. So I'm really sorry that you got like that. Look, it won't be like that forever. Unfortunately, the world just changes in very slow and uncomfortable sort of ways. My name is Aaron Roussos. One day, you will know me as the guy that found all the causes and the cure for cancer, for instance. I first healed myself of an incurable disease, chronic anxiety, back in 2018, but because of you being conditioned and all the rest of it, you'll reject me, even the thought of that, because it can't be done, right? You've been conditioned to believe that. Yet the hundreds and hundreds of people that are doing the program, they can see it. So it's just a matter of and I've got everything all across the world, 7,000 correspondents and timestamps, doctors, professors, from Harvard Medical to NAMI to, lots of different organisations. They all know, right? They're actually just, unfortunately, keeping you right where they need you. When it comes out, they'll never be able to copy or replicate what I do in a synthetic way. And so when, they decide that it's okay for the rest of the population for this to come out, I'm being absolutely, censored and whatever. It's all free, available on my website for anyone. I'm a humanitarian. I'm not here to do what they're doing to you. It can never be anyone else's. It's always mine. It can never be anyone else's. So regardless of what you believe today, I'm the person that was able to bring the biggest discovery to humanity in humans' history so far. And that's not from an ego, that's just a fact. But it's just important that, as I say, everyone's on their own journey. I'm all about, I was gutted and absolutely so sad and really pissed off, actually, when I realised that you're all brainwashed and I've got all this stuff to help you and no one wants it. But at the end of the day, now I've sort of, unfortunately, getting to a point where I go, well, it is the way it is. I can just do what I do, put my stuff out there. That's why I do podcasts on my website and all the rest of it. And the people that are on their journey, like me, when I healed myself, I just got to a point where I can't do this anymore. Fuck, there's got to be something else out there. Surely this can't be life. This is fucked. And so, I went on that journey and I healed myself. And because there were some beautiful people that went before me, I was able to pick up pieces and parts and compile it all together and get the healing for myself, which is exactly what I asked for, just like the way you're going to ask for someone, a perfect partner or love for you that would, be a beautiful thing. Same way. I asked for it the same way. So if you're not well as well, you can ask for that sort of stuff. And as I say, everything's available. So I hope that really helps with you finding love, because it's a really beautiful thing. And at the end of the day, I said I had a couple, mother and daughter sit down from the Gold Coast the other day and have their numerology done. And I said to the daughter, look, if you stripped away everything, jobs and dingers and buildings and money, and if we were just on the earth, what do you think would be our purpose or calling, or what do you think we would do? And she goes, to hook up. And I was like, yeah, love. Like everybody, even in you in your most dysfunctional state now, the most precious thing to you is your family, the ones you love. And so you'll protect that. It really is such a special and amazing, beautiful thing. It's the bias of the whole shooting match here on Earth and throughout the galaxy. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you, and have an awesome day, night or morning, wherever you are. This is the Aaron Roussos podcast.